The town of Hollow Creek, Kentucky was quiet, slow, and deeply rooted in church life. On Friday nights, families gathered for football games, potlucks, and prayer meetings. On this particular evening, the sky was heavy with rain as Ethan Miller parked his dusty Ford pickup outside Mama Rosa's Italian Grill, a small family restaurant near the town square. He stayed in his truck longer than usual. Inside his jacket pocket was a velvet ring box. Tonight, he was finally going to ask Abigail Carter to marry him. They had been together for nearly 4 years. They met when Ethan was 16, and helping his mom volunteer at New Hope Community Church. Abigail was passing out donated clothes and warm meals. She smiled at everyone. She remembered names. She listened to people's stories. She came from one of the wealthiest families in Hollow Creek. But she never acted rich. She wore thrift store sweaters. She baked casseroles for church dinners. She stayed late to clean up folding chairs. Ethan fell in love with her kindness, not her money. He took a deep breath and stepped into the restaurant. Abigail was already sitting in their usual booth by the window. But something was wrong. Her eyes were red. Her hands trembled as she folded her napkin. She tried to smile, but failed. "Hey," Ethan said softly, sliding into the booth. "You okay?" She shook her head. "Before we order, there's something I have to tell you." His chest tightened. "What's wrong?" Abigail swallowed hard. "My family's money isn't clean." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" "My father controls the donation fund at New Hope Church," she whispered. "The one that helps families pay rent, buy food, and keep their lights on." Ethan felt cold. That fund had once paid for his family's power bill when his dad passed away. Abigail stared at the table. "He's been taking money from it," she said quietly. "For years." Ethan's heart pounded. "He used it to buy our house, our cars, our vacations." Ethan whispered, "That church saved my family." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I know." Silence filled the booth. "Does he still do it?" Ethan asked. She nodded. "My parents say it's not hurting anyone." Something inside Ethan broke. He slowly stood up. Abigail looked up in panic. "Ethan, what are you doing?" He placed money on the table. "My family lived because of that church," he said softly. "And someone else probably went hungry." She reached for his hand. "Please don't leave." His voice cracked. "I love you, but I can't build my life on stolen prayers." He turned and walked out. The bell above the door rang softly behind him. Abigail collapsed into her seat. Dinner was never ordered. And her old life ended right there. Abigail didn't move for a long time after Ethan walked out. The waitress came twice to refill her water. She barely noticed. Soft country music kept playing like nothing had just shattered her life. Her phone buzzed. "Ethan, I need time. I can't pretend I didn't hear what you told me." Her chest felt hollow. She stared at the message until the screen dimmed. When she finally stood up, her legs were weak. Rain soaked her hair as she walked to her SUV. The driveway lights reflected on the windshield like quiet tears. Her parents' house stood at the top of Maple Ridge, tall white columns, a perfect lawn, 2 luxury SUVs in the driveway. For the first time in her life, it looked like a lie. She sat in the car for 10 minutes before going inside. Her mother was watching TV. Her father stood near the fireplace with a glass of bourbon. "You're home early," her mother said. Abigail's voice shook. "Ethan left me." Her father frowned. "Over what?" "Because of the church money." Silence fell. "You told him?" her father asked sharply. "Yes." His jaw tightened. "You should have stayed quiet." Tears slid down her cheeks. That money belonged to struggling families. Her father's voice hardened. "It belongs to us now." Abigail took a step back. "I can't live like this." Her mother stood up. "You love your life too much to walk away." Abigail whispered. "Not anymore." That night she packed a suitcase. No jewelry. No credit cards. Just clothes and her old laptop. She left a note on the kitchen counter. "I can't live on stolen prayers anymore." Then she walked out of the house that raised her. And into a future she didn't know how to survive. She rented a tiny studio apartment above a laundromat. The floor creaked. The heater rattled all night. The smell of soap floated through the walls. She found a job at a grocery store bakery. She woke at 4 a.m. She came home tired. Her feet ached. But her paycheck felt honest. One afternoon, a woman in her checkout line froze. "You're his daughter," the woman whispered. Abigail nodded. "My husband lost everything to your father." Abigail's throat tightened. "I'm sorry," she whispered. The woman stared at her. "You're the first person from that family who ever said that." Then she walked away. Abigail cried in the freezer aisle. But she stayed. Months passed. She volunteered at a church legal clinic helping victims fill out paperwork. She listened to their stories. Every story hurt. But every story also healed her. One night, she sat on her bed holding her phone. She typed Ethan's name. Deleted it. Typed again. Finally she sent. "I left my family's money. I'm trying to make things right. I just wanted you to know." The message said delivered. No reply. She placed the phone down. She whispered into the empty room. "I deserve this." Ethan didn't sleep the night Abigail sent that message. He stared at his phone on the kitchen table, rereading her words again and again. "I left my family's money. I'm trying to make things right." He wanted to reply, but his chest felt too heavy. His father had died when Ethan was 17. His mother still worked double shifts at the nursing home. They had barely survived those years. The church fund had once kept their lights on, had once filled their fridge. Ethan loved Abigail, but loving her meant accepting where the money came from. And he couldn't. 2 weeks later, Ethan got a call from his mom. "You remember the church?" she asked quietly. "They're doing an audit." Ethan froze. Why? Because money went missing years ago. Families complained. His stomach dropped. The truth was coming. Abigail stood in her tiny kitchen when 2 men knocked on her door. They showed badges. They asked about her father. She told them everything. She cried while she spoke. She gave them old emails, bank records, donation receipts. Her hands shook, but her heart felt strangely light. 3 months later, the town gathered outside New Hope Church. News vans lined the street. Her father was arrested in front of the building he once preached inside. People cried. Some yelled. Some just stood in silence. Ethan watched from across the street. His mother stood beside him. "Some of that money was ours," she whispered. Ethan nodded. Abigail lost her family name overnight. Friends stopped calling. Her parents cut her off completely. But for the first time she could sleep. One cold evening, Ethan knocked on her apartment door. She opened it slowly. Their eyes met. He looked thinner. Tired. She whispered, "I didn't think you'd ever come." He swallowed. "I needed to see who you became." They stood in silence. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," she said. "I just wanted to be honest." Ethan nodded. "You already did something no one else did." He paused. "You chose truth over comfort." Tears filled her eyes. "I lost everything," he said softly. "You saved your soul." They didn't hug. They didn't kiss. They simply stood there. 2 people who loved each other, but had been changed forever. And sometimes that is the hardest ending of all. Every like, subscribe, and share supports our channel and helps us tell more stories like this.